Well, guys, the time has come. I've got quite a few projects that have slowly been accumulating over the days. The Chaser 32. Finally got that back from the guy who did the paint and the decal work for me. I'm gonna give it the 6 out of a 10. It looks good from a distance from here, but if we go up and look at that, it's kind of dirty, but it's fine. You know, he only charged me $50. I told him, do whatever you want to do, and that's what he came up with, so I can't complain. We learned that in the future, we want to do any decals, we need to do decals and not paint. So the only thing that is a decal is this with the outline, and then the outline around the window and a little bit here, but everything else is all paint. That's just for practicality's sake. It's just easier to put, decals on the boat. I've slowly accumulated all the parts for the Chaser build. Got the carbon fiber inlay ready to go. And the only thing I'm waiting for is the motor. Went back and forth on it. I do have a rocket motor I can put in it for the time being. But this will probably be the first build that we do. I just kind of wanted to do an all-encompassing of what's going to come over the next few months. So let's go ahead and set this aside. We're just going to set it down here. Now, this just showed up, and Fred at Everything Adam RC had told me about this company, MHZ. So MHZ is overseas, and they make boats. And I decided, since I get a lot of not supportive comments about, oh, you always, buy these expensive things and yada, 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 and everything's so big. So I decided to listen, and I wanted to build something that was a little bit cheaper and a little bit smaller. And OSC didn't have the little small 16-inch hydro. So this company, MHC, had a 17-inch hydro. And boy, oh boy, does it look cool. But 17 inches makes stuff really tough. And I assumed I could use some of the motors that I had over here and put in it. Those are 2968s. And that was really what my game plan was to put a 2968 in this thing, or like a 2964 or something like that. So I think I'm going to have to go a little bit smaller. Regardless, I want to make it a 3S boat, maybe a 4S boat. So I did order a motor today that is 3330 kV, and it is a 2850, I believe. But when you start putting stuff in this boat, it gets really small, really compact, really quick. And I don't know if maybe I should use like 1300 milliamp batteries or what, but it does, the batteries do fit in the nose really well. And I started watching some 2-year-old videos that Big B had. So Ironclad has got an old kit that he had. I can't remember the name. It was something crazy, but it was a wooden kit. And it was a 1/20th scale is what he has it listed as. And I watched probably 5 or 6 of those videos today at work to try to get an understanding and an idea, which I really appreciate his videos because he goes in depth on the whole build. And I don't do that because I'm not nowhere near as experienced as he is. So I use his experience as my guidance. And that's where he comes into play being a good teacher, because you as the viewer may not realize how important a video is, even though you're not building that. But a video that's 2 years old that he has is filled with great detailed information on like motor placement, ESC placement. Does this size boat need a turn fin? What size flex cable should I run? All these things were going through my head. And I bought this boat as a kind of a setup kit. So it comes with a small 1/8 inch prop shaft. It comes with a plastic prop. It comes with a 130 flex cable. But I'm not geared up for any of that. Everything I have is either 150 or 3/16 drive shaft. So this is going to be a new endeavor for me. So it did come with a cool little micro rudder. I have some things coming for it that I ordered on eBay. That TFL 2-in-1 strut rudder. It's in line. Big B had posted a clip of it saying something about he wanted to try one of those. Well, they make it in an 1/8 inch and then a 3/16, and they make it in a 1/4 inch, and they look cool. Which puts the rudder right behind the strut, and it's got a little support arm over. So I bought one of those. I'm not sure if it'll fit, if it'll be too big or what. But I wanted a bunch of different variations of setup to where I could figure out exactly what direction I want to go. It was only like 20 bucks. But when I get it, I'm going to weigh it. And I'm going to compare the weight of like this setup here on a scale compared to it and see which one weighs more, weighs less, and whatnot and so forth. I also went the route of like looking at speed controllers. I just gave Fred my little 30 amp dynamite. I sent it to him and I was like, man, he's like, you want it back? I'm like, no, I gave it to you, keep it. This is a little Fly Color 90. So what I ended up doing, I went on OSE today and I bought the 10-shock speed controller. I was basing it off of the amperage and off the size. So I think the 10-shock ESC is going to do really well in here. It's very small, very compact. It's a 40 amp speed controller, but it's good up to 2 to 4S, which is cool. I can run 2 to 4S, but it's good up to 16.8 volts, which means I can run the high voltage 15.2 packs with that ESC, which is really, really helpful. So one little dilemma I had with this thing is when I opened it up from shipping, it had cracked the back corner, and the crack runs all the way up. Let me see if I can point this out. But the crack runs all the way up this seam, and then you can kind of see where it transpires right there. And then if you look underneath, you can kind of tell it right here, but on camera you can't tell it's in that seam. But what it did, it makes this little lip here flimsy and flexible. And I'm worried about when I put hatch tape on it and I go to rip it off, is it gonna bend that corner up? So MHZ, I reached out to them, showed them pictures. They gave me a $20 voucher and said, hey, if it breaks, here's 20 bucks. You can get you a new one. So good to them. Right away, good customer service. I'm not really somebody who screams on warranties and customer service, stuff like that, but I felt like straight out of the box, take a picture, send it to them, let them know. That way, if it does break, then I can get a new one in the future. But I'm going to try to just reinforce that with carbon fiber. But I'm waiting on my first order from OSE to arrive, and that's going to have a motor mount. And what I was thinking about doing, and any input in the comment section will be helpful, because a boat this small, I need a little bit of guidance. My initial thought was we'll put the battery up here. Now the 4S doesn't fit. I'll have to cut this section out just a little bit to get it to fit. But if I put my motor in here, something like so, I can't get the battery in or out. And you see how much room I'm working with here? Like minimal, like the distance of my thumb. So that's, to me, kind of where the motor would need to go if I'm going to run the battery like that. I'm going to try my best to get the weight distribution of this spot on. Put a little bit, in B's video, he was talking about how the left sponson on his like to lift up. Okay, that means put more weight on the left side to control that. So maybe put the speed controller on the left side. There's all these things that his video is giving me great ideas. So Big B, I appreciate all of the old videos that you have, your build videos. They do come in handy for people in situations just like this. Now, we're not going to be running this. This was going to be one of my rigger tests in the future. I'm just showing it to you now. This is a 4220 kV, where the one I'm running now is a 4122 kV that's currently in my shrimp rigger. So what I have come to the assumption, and please in the comments let me know if this is a good idea or a bad idea, because we don't have a lot to work with here. I didn't want to go with a 2040 motor. I felt it was too small. I went with a 2850, and that's going to stop it about right there where that decal is, which is really going to shrink the total length of the motor up. And they say on their website that this boat you can put anywhere from, I think they said, a 24 to a 31 millimeter motor in it. I don't know what, I guess a 31 millimeter motor is going to be like an outrunner. But what I was thinking about doing is you come in here and cut this a little trim around here, and then you can actually put the motor further forward, because this boat needs front CG. I put the battery up front and I slid the motor. I put the motor in there like so, right? And I put a battery up front, and it's still nose light with the motor pushed that far forward and the battery in the nose with nothing hanging on the transom. So I was like, well, we're going to need more nose weight to keep this thing from blowing off the water. I am going to run a little micro turn fin. So my thought is cut this out, get my motor mounted on the motor mount, and I want to mount that motor somewhere, more or less kind of like that. That way it gives me a lot of space behind it to where I can put whatever I need back here, and then I can maybe put my battery here or here, depending on the way I wanted to do it. Or even if necessary, I could put the motor way up front and then put the battery like wherever I go through the hull. Then I could put the battery long ways in the boat, like right behind it, like so. That was my initial thought. And then like you have your through hole here, and then it comes out, and you have your strut and your rudder and everything back here. But that's what we're gonna do after we build the Chaser 32, because I still have to wait for some of this stuff's coming from China because Offshore Electric didn't have it. But the Chaser's been here for a month, and had been here for 2 days. So I wanted to showcase it, and I wanted everybody to see it, and I want everybody to comment on it and give me any tips, tricks, ideas. It is kind of rough around the edges. If you see the seam, see how, and I've already started, I didn't sand on this seam here, but I did sand this side down. So you can see that this side is already smooth. So I worked on that a little bit last night. And I got these little seams inside the nose sealed up pretty good and cleaned up pretty good. It does come with wings. You can drill a hole, cut a hole back here, and mount the wings. I don't think I'm going to do that just yet. I may do it. If y'all say put the wings on there, it looks cool, I might do that. But for me, I don't want to drill holes in the boat that I don't have to. So we'll just save these for right now. But it did come with battery straps and battery holders and what you see here. It was like 129 euros, and by the time we were done with shipping, it was like 150 bucks or something like that. So I just wanted to buy something from MHC before I bought something bigger. I will eventually one day buy a big kit. Don't know what direction I want to go with it, but I will do that in the future. So I don't know where we're going to put these battery straps. Right now, I think the way it's set up and the battery fits so well, I just slide it in there and put a little piece of foam, and I think it'll hold it just fine. But that is going to be a project for another day, and I have to put it on a balancing beam, set stuff where I think I need it, and really focus on the CG of the boat before I make stuff permanent. I got to get the servo rod, all that stuff, make a servo mount. I'm going to try to make some of this stuff rather than just buy it, but it'll be a cool little build. We're going to do 2 scratch builds on the channel. That's what's coming next, and actually 3. And then we've got the JEE21FE. So that will be maybe towards fall is when I'll put this together, or if I break the shrimp rigger. we'll work on that. But for now, I've got the majority of the stuff over here for the chaser. You know, my motor rings, my hatch locks, servo arms, my flex cables, whether I want to go with a 150 or 3/16, turn fins, all the goodies. And I've got motors. These are 2200 kV Leopard motors. But lots to do. I've just had very minimal time lately. Work has been crazy. Yeah, so I've slowly been accumulating projects, just haven't had time to work on them. Even though it looks like a disaster every time I turn my camera on. I will literally clean this table up, and then within 2 days it's a disaster again. But I've actually been working on a project, and I can't make the video yet, but I can give you somewhat of a hint. I did make a short on it, and I need this to put oil in it. But I'm missing 2 little intricate parts out of the screw kit. So I'm waiting for that company, Toyin, to send me those, and then we'll have a pretty cool video. They sent me something to review, which is pretty cool, and I've got another company sending me a remote control, a receiver and a remote to review. They watched my WFly X9S video where we reviewed that, and they liked the video so much they wanted me to review theirs. So I said, send it on, and we'll showcase it in one of my future projects. So that will be coming here in the next week or so. And every night I've just been kind of working on these props here. I've got this 1717 about 90% of the way done. Need to do a little bit of polishing left on it, a little bit of wet sanding, and then work on this one here. This one still has a little fat blade on it. You can see. Yeah, there it is. So it's still kind of heavy on that blade, but that's why I've got it marked. That's the one I need to work on. She's still a little fat, but cool. Well, I'm gonna end it here, guys. I just want to show you future projects, and then the next video I'm gonna clean all this up, and then we're gonna start working on the Chaser 32. So thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.